Okay, hello everybody, and welcome to this month's Fearless Fridays interview. I'm really pleased to be talking to the lovely Sabine Hart, who I used to work with actually at Procter & Gamble, and recently we've been sort of interacting a little bit more in the entrepreneurial space. I'll leave her to tell you what she's up to at the moment, but really loving everything she's doing, and we found that we have a lot of both challenges and sort of passions in common. So looking forward to hearing your story, Sabine. So can you start by telling us what you were doing before and what you're doing now?
Of course. Thank you so much for having me, Anna. So nice to be connecting with you again after so many years. And yes, pretty crazy to see how our path has changed from working both in Procter & Gamble in marketing. And then over the years, both of our paths have actually completely changed to this entrepreneurial lifestyle, digital nomad lifestyle, even for you. And so for me, as what I just mentioned before, I was working in marketing for fragrances. Then over the years, my career has completely shifted. Right now, I'm actually a health coach and nutritionist. And so I'm still based in Switzerland as before, but I'm super flexible in terms of working. I work mostly with clients online to really help them basically create their own healthy lifestyle without me telling them what to do, but just looking at where they are and set a strategy for them so they can feel their very best and full of energy to both fulfill their dreams in their private life as well as professional life.
Amazing, and such an important topic as well. So I think I remember, was it the year I was leaving or towards the end? I left in 2013. So I believe you were then mentioning, is that the right timing, that you were thinking of maybe doing a course in nutrition and so on? I'm curious to know, is this something you've had a passion for forever? And what was it that sort of led you to take the step and then eventually to go full time into this business?
Well, I'm already giggling with this question because no, I had never ever seen this coming. I'm like, really, universe? Come on, like I had never seen this coming, especially because at university in high school, my nickname was Cookie Monster. And actually, one of my most embarrassing moments was on the rooftop in Geneva at P&G. I don't know if I ever even mentioned that story to you, but I had just found out that if you had these Ovaltine biscuits that had like this filling inside and you would open it up and leave them out in the sun for a little bit, it would kind of like start melting. And now it was so good. So then I got this new passion, and it was summer, and I was going to the rooftop, and usually there were only smokers there, and it was just me sitting around the corner kind of hiding to open my cookies and enjoy. And then the entire like management team came upstairs, and they were like, Sabine, what are you doing here? I didn't know you smoked. And I was like, no, I don't smoke. And I was just like sitting there waiting for my cookies.
I'm just melting my cookie. Love that.
Melting my cookies. So no, to get back to your question, thinking that one day I would actually be helping people get a healthier lifestyle and that I would ever turn like a nutritionist, that was something really I had never ever imagined. So Cookie Monster turned health nut. But yeah, it really, actually, I started studying nutrition. That was when I was still working back in P&G. And in the beginning of 2013, actually, both my parents got a life-threatening disease. And then I was just scrolling through Facebook, and there was an ad for a nutrition course, and it really talked about how you can prevent so many diseases. And to be honest, up to that time, I mean, well, looking back at my cookie consumption, I really wasn't so aware of, how food impacts our well-being. And so when I saw that ad, I just went with that, with the intuition that I needed that. And I needed it for my parents. That's what I thought. And actually, it did really make such a big difference in their quality of life. It was really incredible. The healthier they start to eat, the better they start to feel, and the more energy they had. It was only for my dad, it was really too late because he had both brain cancer and lung cancer and stage 4. So it was really throughout his body. And that was actually also the moment when I heard that he had, well, the doctors estimated for him to live another 2 to 4 weeks. That's when I decided, what am I doing to my life? Like, I really want to spend time with him. And so that's when I actually quit my job at P&G, which was pretty extreme at that moment because I was actually really enjoying it. So it wasn't a very easy decision. But obviously, if you have to decide between, well, going off your corporate career or really taking the time with my family. And eventually he lived another 8 months. So we really had the best time and so much quality time. So I never regretted that decision. But I guess in that way, it was almost, well, easier. I don't know if I can say that, but easier to switch, really the career from the corporate job to quit that job and be there with my parents. And then I didn't realize in the meantime that I was so excited about everything that I was learning because it was so new to me. So I started to eat less cookies, obviously. And I started to realize how everything had such a big impact. But also my Italian husband, he was eating pizza, pasta, gelato, as an Italian, and starting his breakfast with cookies. So then I started to share more and more, not only with my parents, but also with my husband. And he was then the first one to say, Sabine, you changed my life. Like he started to do sports, he quit smoking, he started to do yoga, he gave up his pasta, pizza, and gelato, and he started to do triathlons. And so he was like, okay, I think you found your calling, because without even pushing me, without even wanting me to change anything, he basically got so inspired and so motivated that he changed his entire lifestyle. And I was like, sometimes, honey, I think you're being a little too extreme. Like, you can be a little less unhealthy. Because for me, it's really important just to find the balance between just doing what you want to do and enjoying what you want to enjoy, but still always feeling good. So it's not about 100% clean eating or anything. So so that's really why I went from the corporate career then to actually my husband really telling me, you should be doing this for a living. And that's why I started Puricious, my own company, and working with clients everywhere around the world, actually mostly on the internet. In the beginning, and then after a while, I was people here in Switzerland. We were like, "Oh, great! You're working with all these people, like in Australia and the US, and can I work with you too?" And and then I started also to work more locally. And after studying, not only that one study that I had already started when I was still in P&G, but also then I did so many more studies about nutrition, hormones, became a yoga teacher, because then, I realized, oh, shoot, there's so much to learn.
Oh, it's such a beautiful story. And I think it sounds like, everything really came together for you, that you happened to see that piece of nutrition, that you were able to spend that time with your dad, which was so 500% the right decision for you and for him and for your family, that you've been able to help your mom, that you've helped your husband, and I assume that you're feeling better yourself as well, and of course all your clients. So it's a really lovely way of taking sort of that one quite difficult step, but everything kind of falling into place, it sounds like. But I imagine it wasn't as easy. It's always easier to look back, and it makes a lot of sense. So what were the challenges, I guess, both in deciding to actually leave, as you said, a job that you really liked to be with the most important people in your life, and then secondly to actually start and get the business up and running?
Yes, I think the biggest challenge is what I had really, really underestimated, because I had always, my family is super entrepreneurial, and, my brother also, like, my brother in particular, he was extremely entrepreneurial. He would already be like negotiating, with games in the schoolyard rather than actually playing the game and like selling the games. And so I came from a really entrepreneurial family. So I had always in mind that one day I would be doing something and I would be setting up my own business, but I never knew really what or how. And the biggest challenge was, however, that knowing that one day I would have my own business, I had underestimated the fact that I went from having a corporate career where you have, the supply chain, you have all the structure, you have the team in place, and you have also all of your suppliers, then going to setting up my own business really from scratch, where you have none of that. But also on top of that, like, I didn't go from being a marketing manager then to being like a marketing consultant. I actually completely changed industry, changed also completely the role I was having. And that really hit me in the face, because I got so insecure, especially because I went out here in Switzerland and I met lots of people, and I kept on saying for the first year and a half or something, "Hi, I'm Sabine, I'm a marketing manager." And then it was like, no, hang on, I'm a nutritionist. And so that kind of killed my own credibility. And that was really the biggest challenge for me. And that's also why I kept on like studying one study after the other, sometimes 2 free studies, online at the same time. Because I felt like, oh, shoot, now I have to like know everything about everything, like everything about our body, and to really help my clients. And obviously I got so many different cases from people who were either in a menopause and couldn't lose weight to people with diabetes, to Crohn's disease, to autoimmune disease. So then at a certain point, there's so much to learn about. So the biggest challenge for sure was really just to change not only from corporate career to entrepreneur, being an entrepreneur, but also completely changing my role and industry.
Yeah, that's a big change because some people, and certainly I usually recommend that people kind of do a step-by-step transition first, a bit like I did, take maybe marketing and become freelance consultant and then gradually build your business in the meantime. So it's definitely a big leap to take, isn't it, to change sector and to completely change your identity, really, as you said, from being part of this big company to being just you working on your business. So where did you get the support you needed to manage those challenges?
Well, my family was very supportive. They really believed in me. They were the ones who always believed in me, even when I was at home, like crying, oh my God, like who would ever work with me? And I didn't believe in myself. That was really something I had never seen coming either. Like I really felt like, the moment I decided to start my own business, I was like doing happy dances all the time. I was like, oh, freedom, like flexibility. And then it hit me like a few months later where I was like, oh my God, I'm like trapped in all these studies and,
It's a roller coaster, isn't it? You have that initial euphoria and then suddenly the reality hits home and it's like, oh, I actually have to do this now.
Exactly. It's like, oh my God, now I have to do everything, like from sales to marketing to accounting, etc. So my family overall, they were super supportive. My cat, she was always right on my hands on the keyboard. She would never go to bed until
I think that's the first time I've heard that someone had a supportive cat through their career transition. So that's great to hear.
I mean, it was really incredible because I think as an entrepreneur, since you love it so much, it's your passion. I've already always been a workaholic, but then, once you really love it, there's like no more break. It's like, no, I don't want to stop. Like, it's so exciting. So it was good. She would never go to sleep. And then after a while, I'd be like worried about her, like, oh my gosh, she really needs to sleep. So it was a good reminder for me. And last but not least, I think, my husband, he's really been the biggest like pillar in my life, also in helping me believe in myself, especially. And he was very sweet. He started from the beginning, like, after a while, it was kind of like, and now you stop studying, like, enough, because I got into details about hormones, etc., that he was like, you cannot even, kind of share this knowledge because no one will get it. It's like, it's so complicated. Just, your strength is that it's practical and it's just, get into action and just stick to that level. And, it's great that you know all the ins and outs, but at a certain point, like, now stop studying and you go and, actually put yourself out there. And he helped me with that because we started then doing the workshops together. And so we started doing workshops about sugar and about like toxins in our life and lots of different topics, also hormones. And he was very sweet because he would always come along and he would always do parts of it. But he was basically my biggest fan and my biggest believer and supporter. So that was really, great.
Oh, that's lovely. Yeah, he's very insightful there, isn't he? Because I think there's a couple of elements to that. We've been talking a lot about imposter syndrome the last couple of weeks, and I don't know if it's just that phenomenon that when you read about something, it just appears everywhere, because I've seen people talking about it everywhere. But this idea that we have to prove how smart we are and have all these qualifications and accolades and scientific things, probably because we come from that educational background in the company where you need those kind of titles and so on. So that's interesting. And then the other piece, as you said, is how we're going to communicate that to clients, because actually that makes it too complicated and we forget that really just being one step ahead of them is going to help us to sort of, fill in the gaps for them. And the simpler it is, the more effective it's going to be, actually. So there's a couple of interesting insights there as well. So what's the best part of your life and career at the moment?
The best part is the feedback from my clients, because and honestly, sometimes, we, as what you mentioned, like we come from such a set of mindset and rules that we believe that, success looks like this. And I love also that you always talk about like how to redefine your success, because also I started really off with, like, okay, I want to have so many clients and these financial targets and whatever, because it's also what we're used to in the corporate world. Until like it was actually my husband who started to point more and more out to me. It was like, damn, I'm so jealous of you. Like, no one has ever said to me, thank you for giving my life back, or thanks to you, I'm a different person. And or they talk about like, there was a life before Sabine and there was a life after Sabine. And I mean, it is, I don't know, it's it's sometimes still very, very hard to actually even receive that kind of feedback because it's so overwhelming. Like I find it almost difficult to accept it because it's like, whoa. But it's obviously that's really what keeps me going. It's what gives me the greatest energy. That's why, even when I have days where I'm only doing the accounting or stuff, that I don't really enjoy, that really keeps me going because I'm like, wow, no, I know that I'm doing this for a greater reason. And yeah, having that purpose and having that direct feedback from clients, being so happy and seeing their transformation, like sometimes it's incredible, not only in terms of how they feel or energy or weight loss, but also in terms of their health, how much you can do with, the right nutrition, the right balance and movement. So that's really the most fulfilling out of everything.
That is amazing. And it is such a contrast, I think, because however much we can enjoy our work, and as you said, you did like your job, and I did too, I fundamentally felt very disconnected. We're sitting in Geneva in this sort of global headquarters doing beautiful PowerPoint presentations and things, and we're so far removed from the end consumer. Whereas, as you said, you then are really having a one-on-one, even if it's one-to-many, even impact on people, and then you get to hear that from them. And I think sometimes we get caught up as well thinking, oh, we need 100 people in our group, we need 1,000 people in whatever it is, and actually forgetting that I've helped 5 people, 10 people, one person even. That's such a huge thing. It's incredibly meaningful and rewarding, so that's really lovely to hear.
It's beautiful. I actually really, really loved also the other day. I heard from a teenager right now, and she was saying how, she came into this world and she thought that all the structures and the rules we play by, like us adults, and that she thought it was really weird. And there was so much focus on the financial part also of things. And she was like, this is so weird. And so she also said, okay, I redefined like being a billionaire. She said, I don't think, in my perspective, a billionaire is a person who impacts at least 1 billion lives for the better. And it can be a ripple effect. It doesn't have to be that you have a one-to-one interaction with every single person, but the ripple effect. I mean, I've also seen it. I work with one client and all of a sudden the husband comes on board or the wife or the children. Everyone gets inspired. The colleagues get inspired. It's like it has such a ripple effect. And that's sometimes also so cool to see because we always think so small. We have so many limiting beliefs. And then, you keep on going and you just act upon, I would say, your intuition, and you keep on putting yourself out there and connecting with people. And then the impact we each can have is just incredible.
And that's interesting because, as you said, it's not just limited to the sales we make, right? Because, of course, working with clients or if they buy our products or programs, they're going to make a really big change in their lives. But actually, I hear, and I'm sure you do, to people who are looking at your free stuff, watching your Facebook Lives or getting your free PDF or whatever it is. I get people who said, oh, I've watched this video and I've now changed this, it's amazing. Or people who have never and maybe will never buy from me, but are following my emails and my content and do that for years. And it's a really lovely thing too to not forget about the financials, because we do need to earn that money, and it's not a bad thing to have ambitions when it comes to money either. I've decided, I've sort of come to terms with money being an okay thing. It's not evil, but as you said, there are so many other aspects to it that should be definitions of success beyond just the sales or the number in the bank account, right? So that's a really nice thing to look at.
I think it changes the energy. It's like it really, you come from a different place where you first come with your heart and your authentic, like, I don't know, fulfilling your purpose, and that authenticity and really using your intuition, your heart, just creates such a different energy. And then the money part is just an exchange of love, I would almost say. There's nothing else to it.
Oh, that's lovely. Okay, and I think you've already sort of given some insights as to what we would advise other people to do, but what would be your sort of best advice for someone maybe who's, well, somewhere along that journey, you choose where, but some kind of advice you'd like to give to someone else who's considering leaving or maybe in the early days of entrepreneurship?
The one advice is really to listen to your own intuition, because there's no right or wrong, or there's no correct way to go on your path in life. It just really depends on how you feel and how you want to feel. And I would say, like, really looking back, I would always advise everyone to always kind of make a list of what are your values, what are your priorities in life. And because I've also noticed for myself, is what you said, we go to school, university, and we have already so many set expectations of ourselves and from the outside world. And that creates so many limiting beliefs. So rather than thinking that, you're on this path now, you've studied this, so the chances to do this are, like limited to this and this and this. You can actually start changing around and just really feel like, okay, how do I want to live my life? What are my values? How do I want to feel? And then start looking, okay, well, how can I actually get there? And just set a strategy, like what location can I see myself living in? What can I, like, what would I enjoy most? Is it the interaction with people? Is it, I don't know, whatever. Is it doing sports more often, or whatever it is? And to really see what gives you the greatest joy in life, because that was really a wake up call for me when my father passed away. It was like, oh shoot, like it can be over in such a short time. I mean, he only got, he was 59, so it was so young still, and then like now looking back, I was like, oh my God, like I want to make sure that every single day I do what I love. And I always like also when I go out, here, and the people who've come across, me, whether it's in a presentation or workshop, I always do like these silly happy dances. It's kind of like, and I do this happy dance because for me, it's like such a metaphor for how I wish people would feel, that they have the energy to really do what they love in life, and also to really kind of convey like the joy that I wish for every single person every single day in their life. So it's really about your path. There's no right or wrong. And also obviously find a balance that, as what you also mentioned about the money, because I have seen a lot of people go like, oh, well, now I just go and do this and I'll, find a way to make money. Well, it is still part of the equation, right? So I think follow your intuition, follow your heart, and just look at, but also have some, alternatives like plan B, C, D, etc. And you will actually find that the number of opportunities are just unlimited. So if you are well prepared, I'm sure everyone can really create the life and lifestyle that they wish for.
Oh, wow. I love that. I could not agree with everything you said there. So there's no right answer, the importance of intuition. I think all the themes that you've been talking today are so important in terms of, as we said, redefining what success looks like, prioritizing the things, the people, more than things that are most important, and also the whole theme of well-being. So do you still eat that over whatever it was, the biscuit? Do you still fry that in the sun, or have you moved away from that completely? Have you found other delights to melt in the sun?
I'm so surprised. Like now, sometimes I honestly just feel like, oh, I'm going to have something really, really bad. Oh, and I go to the supermarket and, well, I've gotten into the habit of reading labels, and it just goes like, oh, these cookies, I used to eat them, and I read the label and like, maybe next time, and maybe next time. So it's, as said, like I have a sweet tooth. I'll be a cookie monster forever, so that will never change. But it's getting harder and harder to find something that I actually truly enjoy. So, but I always stick to this 80-20, like just 80% eat your vegetables, drink your water, work out, whatever, do everything that, you can possibly do for your body to boost your energy. Then the 20%, whether it's drinking, smoking, okay, I don't know, whatever, eating the cookies, enjoy. And I think that's the healthiest balance.
Wonderful. So we've got some added free health advice there as well at the end. So if people want to learn more about your business and look at the resources and so on that you're making available, where can we find you online?
On my website. So it's www.puricious, PURICIOUS.com. And I'm also on Facebook under Puricious, and Instagram is also Puricious with an underscore. And they can also always get in touch with me directly in case of any questions. And I'm always more than happy to answer your questions or help with, however I can.
Great. And just out of curiosity, how did you come up with the name?
Because I actually started with the idea to have like a kind of a healthy bonbon, like praline shop. Because I was always making my own homemade sugar-free chocolate and vegan chocolate. And so I started the name thinking pure and delicious together. And I had this whole kind of like Sprüngli idea, like the patisserie here in Zurich, but then mixed with like Tiffany, like the jewelry show. And that was kind of the image. And then I kind of, and I think that's also something that is so important for everyone to know. It's like, just stay flexible, because that was my, that's what I had started and thought I would go into until I got just clients and clients and clients. And then then I decided, you know what, instead of making day and night my own, chocolate bonbons, I can also just share the recipe and teach others how to make their own.
That's such a good lesson. I still happen to think that there is a massive gap in the market for those kinds of things. I really struggle to find healthy snacks, and I think that might still be something you can add to, as a sort of part of your business. And however, as he says, that kind of flexibility I think is so critical. And for me, I found that there's a time when, as you said, you're trying to work out what's important to me, what do I want, what do I enjoy? But then there's a bit of a, let's put my business/marketing hat on and see what is there actually a market for, what are people responding to? And that's where you can keep the parameters of what you want and the happy dance and all these things that you want to get out of it. But at the same time, you need to be a bit sort of responsive to what people actually are asking you for and so on. So it's a great example there as well. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story. Really excited to finally get to chat to you about your career journey, and looking forward to seeing how you get on the next few years.
Yes, likewise, my dear. Thank you so much, and such a wonderful chance to talk to you again.
Thank you, Sabine. Thank you.